if you just show up every single day and work towards your goals every single day, at some point your brain will figure out the answers. You'll come across the right information. The world will put the right people in your path, and don't worry about it. Just worry about showing up every day. That's the only thing you need to worry about, because if you do that, the world will get out of your way.
Our guest today built one of the largest real estate organizations in North America called the Wolfpack Organization through eXp Realty. They're the fastest growing real estate brokerage in North American history. He's expanded into multiple industries, including insurance, network marketing, small business, digital marketing, and consulting. He's joining us today because he wants to help entrepreneurs launch, scale, and grow large teams, businesses, and organizations. Welcome to the show, Connor Steinbrook.
What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
What's up, Connor? Hey, we're meeting for the first time, and these are always my favorite interviews to do because there's a lot of organic energy to that and getting to know your story. I did a little homework to prepare just to make sure we have kind of the train tracks built for the episode where we're going to go. But I love the fact that there's going to be a lot of things that I'm hearing for the first time. I know you have a great YouTube presence and you're building that. And you've been building incredible businesses over the last few years. Right before I pressed record, you were sharing a little bit of exciting news. Why don't you share that with the audience?
We've been building this business for over almost 5.5 years, the eXp Realty Organization, the Wolfpack, which is the brand behind me. And last month of May 2023, we were named the #1 net growth organization globally at eXp Realty. And there's 88,000+ agents in the company. So that was a big a win for our group and our organization. And so this is the first podcast I've been on, I was telling them, since we got that kind of recognition. So that was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And, we're adding right now between 150, 175 agents every single month are joining our Wolfpack organization around the globe.
The number I saw was 2,100 agents. So what's the number currently?
2,770-ish. Yeah.
Dude, you're just cranking, man. You're just adding people to the team. So what does that process look like? I'm sure in the early days, they were sitting in front of you interviewing. What's that look like now?
Yeah, in the beginning, it was a lot of, I was personally building the business. We have an override model, similar to like KW and other companies. We grow through a 7-tier override system. So in the beginning of building a business like this, you yourself have to be the one that starts it. So you have to learn how to attract agents, whether you're in insurance or real estate, doesn't matter. And then as you have agents come in, you develop leadership teams. So you start teaching those agents how to go out there and attract agents, which starts building your other tiers out. And then after you start teaching those agents to become recruiters, then what you do is you teach them to be leaders, to go to the same thing where they're training agents to go out there and attract agents. So we're going through kind of a 3-step process: agent attraction, to teach agents how to attract, to teach them how to lead. And that creates a duplicatable system behind us. And we've kind of created a satellite business that's operating globally in all 50 states and every Canadian province, essentially.
Dude, this is super impressive. I knew you were doing well, but I didn't expect #1 out of, what's your competition? 88,000?
Yeah, we have over 88,000 agents at eXp. And last month, in May, we were #1.
Okay, that's total agents, but #1. That's in just size, like team size?
It's total net growth. So
volume, net growth. Okay,
yeah,
even growth,
better. Meaning how many agents came versus how many net loss that you lost. So we're not the largest team in the company. So there is a number of agents that came in quite a bit sooner than us. I joined the company right as 2018 was starting, and the company launched 2009. So there are some larger organizations. But as far as growth right now, we're the #1 fastest net growth organization as of last month.
So there's something to say about that. I mean, obviously, people are choosing to come over to your team, right? They have many options I mentioned at the top of the show, real estate, insurance. I mean, these are gigantic industries, but there's a reason that they're coming over to do business with you guys, because there's got to be an attraction there, an appeal. Obviously, the interview process must be really strong, and the recruiting process too, to bring over a superstar and have them join your team. So again, cheers to your success, brother. And some people might not know your story. I heard your story, actually. Shout out to Todd Armstrong for the connection. He's who connected us.
He's awesome.
And yeah, he's awesome. He's like the bounty hunter of great podcast guests. He's like a wild, wild west guy. But he told me about you. He's like, man, you gotta check out Connor, right? Like, check out his story. He's got this crazy story about on a Black Friday. He's like, just ask him about Black Friday a few years back. And I know a lot of people use roller coaster. I do this as well as an analogy for insane ups and downs in business. But you were in the first car right? Your hands in the air on the roller coaster, and you're going from wealth to debt, despair, back to riches again. Please share your story with us, brother.
Yeah, so I'm out of Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, and in 2003, I went off to college. I went to the University of Oklahoma, so Boomer Sooner, if you guys are out there. And so I went to get a marketing degree. So I was majoring in online. So I was getting a marketing major, but I really majored in online poker, is what I tell people, because as a freshman in college, essentially what happened was there was a big online poker boom. What happened during that time? A lot of people remember what was going on. And I put $20 in a poker site for fun, just like everybody else was doing. I started playing for pennies and dollars and tens of dollars and just worked up the limits. And before I knew it, I was one of the top online poker players in the world. I was playing high stakes poker on the internet.
Did you play a lot of poker like with your buddies growing up? So once the online boom hit, you were already great, or were you learning the game very much at that time and just really took off?
Yeah, it was the second one. So really what happened was there's a guy named Chris Moneymaker. And this is important because we're going to tell my story here. My whole life changed because of his story. So what happened was a man named Chris Moneymaker. He was, I think, like an accountant out of Tennessee. On the internet, you have what's called satellite tournaments. So there's tournaments that are played for cash dollars, meaning you win prizes as far as cash. But then there's what's called satellite tournaments, which are a certain buy-in amount that you're winning seats into a bigger tournament that has a bigger cash payout. But Chris Moneymaker did like a $40 satellite tournament on the internet and turned it into a $10,000 main event seat. And then he won the big main event World Series of Poker tournament that you guys watch on TV, and he made a couple $1 million. And every college kid's head in America exploded and said, I got $40 from my mom.
I could do that.
I got $20 in it.
I remember the name Chris Moneymaker, and I remember that whole boom as well. I didn't really play. I didn't know the game very well. I felt like even if it was $40, I knew it wasn't going to end up back in my pocket. So then, okay, so you gave us the world to see there. College kid, online boom. You're like, I'm going to start doing some poker, $10, $20, $40, $50, $100, $1,000. And then you started to really learn the game and take off. When did you know, like, this is something that you were going to really do and make some money at? Was there a couple good weekends you had, or how did that go down?
Yeah, when I was making more per month than I would have getting a 9-to-5 job coming out of college, I was like sitting there going
awesome.
to class.
And you're what, like 22 years old at that point?
Yeah, like 19 or 20 at the time.
19,
so it was really
even younger.
Yeah. And it was a lot easier at the time. And this is about, in business, guys in general, early adopter stages are important. So I was really one of the first two people that got on and aggressively played. So if you spot a trend that has a lot of attention behind it and you get ahead of that wave and you invest time heavily to get your skill sets up, you're behind everybody, or you're in front of everybody else. So it's kind of like I was a black belt playing a bunch of white belts before the white belts rose up to blue belts, black belts, and so on, making it tough.
Mm-hmm.
So it really was like printing money. It was kind of a crazy time, and everything was going well until I guess it was April 15, 2011. If you guys look it up on the internet, that was Black Friday. So imagine working almost 10 years of your life, building a massive skill set that you sacrificed to have, and it's the only way you can create a living and income. And then you wake up the next day and it's gone, because that's what happened to me. So there was government regulation. These websites were doing all sorts of sketchy things. Probably they were hosted offshore on islands. They weren't even in the US. And whatever happened, they had an issue with our government and how they're regulating. And overnight they got shut down. So in the midst of it, myself, my friends, my entire environment, my identity, everything just disappeared overnight. And I went from, full confidence in myself, confidence in my future, to everything just disappearing that fast. And so I've been like, if you're a real estate agent, tomorrow all the real estate agents in North America had to turn their licenses in without any warning.
Right.
And so being young and stupid,
not only that, didn't they either hold on to your income that you won or your winnings?
Yes.
Did you end up getting that back eventually? I know at one point it was pretty much you checked your account and it was zapped, right?
Yeah. So I was actually in a unique situation in that spot. A lot of my friends and people I knew did have a lot of money caught on the websites. So if you play poker a lot, you know that you make a lot of money. And then sometimes you do what's called busting your account, meaning let's say you had $100,000 into it and then you bust it, you go to zero. I never wanted to keep a lot of money on the internet because it was kind of wild west at that time. And still it's a little, hesitant to trust it. They are offshore, like
smart,
it's a little sketchy. So I never kept too much on my site. And when I'd bust it, I'd have to put money back on. And, I'm busting every now and then rebuying. It's a way of stack management and emotion control, because you don't want to have $1 million sitting on a site that in the matter of 30 minutes, you get frustrated and go blow it all. So you want to kind of put parameters and limitations. So I'd actually just busted my account, thankfully, in a way, I guess, thankfully, that I didn't have a bunch of money on it. So all I had really was a whole bunch of what's called like bonus points, which was enough to probably buy like a motorcycle. So there's a decent
Holy
amount of
crap.
bonus points that I lost, but I
Did
didn't
you
actually have
how
cash
hard
money.
was it back then to move money from that site back
Oh,
to
it's
like your
sketchy.
bank account? I know now it's easy, but how did you get your money back then? It was pretty sketchy.
Yeah, it was sketchy. Like you had to like literally go to like a Western Union, and I remember going to Western Unions, and you get some name in like Guatemala or Honduras or something, and you're wiring money literally like or sending money down there to Western Union to like names that you don't know. They're attached to this website, and then just magically the money would appear on the site. And then, but yeah, that's why it was a little bit sketchy at the time. It was a little bit wild,
Yeah.
wild west. So, but there's so many people doing it, and it was all over the news and all over. You saw Full Tilt Poker everywhere in Poker Stars. You saw UFC fighters sponsored by Full Tilt, and it was everywhere. Golfers and all this type of stuff. So
before you know
it's
it, I
like
mean,
how
ESPN's literally giving like primetime
yeah,
spots to poker
that's right.
tournaments. I never thought I'd want to watch a card game on TV, but once you put it on, it's hard to turn away. So you kind of, kind of the whole industry kind of has this bust. You talk about going to bust, right? And that kind of happens out of your control. You feel like, man, this is part of your identity. It sounds like because I can only imagine it's like if you're talking about being a star athlete. Everything was going. You were winning the Heisman, right? You're getting drafted in the NFL coming around, and then all of a sudden that whole opportunity is kind of gone, and that was a big part of your identity. So how did you reevaluate where you're going to go from there?
Yeah, I really didn't know what I was going to do. So this is why I'm a big believer in multiple streams of income, because I had one really good one and it disappeared. And so what happened for me was this is an important lesson in business, guys. A business is a lot about emotions and emotional control and emotional awareness. And at the time, I was too young and too naive to not know that good things don't last forever. So when this was taken away, I went into what's called tilt, which is a shifted emotional mindset where I gambled off. I made irrational decisions. And I actually went to the blackjack tables and craps and pretty much gambled off almost everything that I had left over. And really what happened was I had a tuck tail. I went from sports cars, diamond watches, $1,000 nights at the bars, having the life, to literally having to move back home with my parents in my mid to late 20s. And it was very humbling, very emotionally depressing, and full of anxiety and a lot of fear, because I hadn't had a 9-to-5 job. I had no track record, no job history. And we were just coming out of the 2008 crash. All I had was, I'm a poker player, and there's no evidence showing that poker was coming back at the level it was. And so a lot of people were moving out of the country to play. And I never thought that was going to be what I was going to do. So I was playing live poker up here at the border of Oklahoma at WinStar Casino. And then eventually I just realized it's never going to come back and I have to do something different. And that's when I really kind of started thinking about different paths in life. And while I was playing high stakes poker, live poker at the casinos, I was playing with a lot of wealthy individuals. And when a poker player loses like 20 grand, they look like they want to jump off, a bridge or something like that. Whereas when a high net individual, net worth individual that's multimillionaire, that has a big residual income cash flow, loses it, they're having fun for the day. It's like a hobby, and
They call that Tuesday. That's just a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's just like another day.
They'll make up 40 million the next day. So it's a plus 20.
Yeah, they're having fun. And I remember sitting at the table being like, this guy looks like he wants to die. This guy lost the same amount of money. He's laughing with his friend like nothing happened. So I started asking these guys, what all do you do? It's always like, I'm in apartments. I run a real estate team. I own storage units. It was always some type of business, or that mostly in the real estate space, real estate ownership. So that's when I decided, hey, maybe they're doing great. Why don't I go down that path? So I started looking into the real estate space and the insurance space at the same time. I actually got my insurance license first, and I went in to start doing what's called wholesaling houses. So I started watching, the internet, YouTube videos on how to wholesale properties. And what really happened was I was watching YouTube videos, and there was this traveling guru company coming around saying that we're going to teach you how to do the business. And there are these HGTV celebrities. And I went to like a weekend mastermind seminar where I got suckered into one of those stage selling gurus, and I put up like 35 grand. And I remember I had like almost 30 grand left in my account. And I remember shaking my hand saying, this better work, because I was going literally into debt to buy this education package. And they basically ripped me off. They were about as bad as you could possibly imagine. And I did anything and everything they said to do. And before I knew it, I was almost $100,000 in debt. So here I am living at home.
You're trying to do the right thing. I mean, that's the right thing, investing in yourself to get the education so you could thrive, and it backfires. So then it's like, and you didn't even have a good experience in business yet. So your first one's kind of sour. The thing you were great at just turned upside down. So man, now you're thinking about, how do I put my foot on some solid ground? And I know I've heard you talk about this before. I've seen you mention that this moment in time helped you with entrepreneurship because there is a lot of adversity and there's a lot of uncertainty
Yes.
in entrepreneurship and running real estate, and it is a little bit of uncertainty with a lot of stuff that you have to still carry yourself with confidence. So, would you say that this moment kind of was a little bit of the school of hard knocks for you to learn that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, think about anything you've ever done in life that you're proud of that was easy or that
Yeah.
was not filled with massive sacrifice, pain, and suffering. So
The
in
only
life,
thing I,
looking
I could
back,
joke and say is being a dad. I mean, that guys have it a lot easier in that we just
yeah,
we just show up to the hospital and we're there. Yeah, yeah, breathe. But
yeah,
anyway, that's a silly thing that came to my mind where we got it a lot easier on this side of it. But no, you're right, dude. Anything you're very proud of, anything that takes time to build, extreme wealth. If it does happen overnight, like some weird situation where there's a bag of money dropped on your porch, you're probably not going to want to be involved with it because it can come away. Someone's looking for it. Number one, and you
right.
got a target. Number two is
It's
if
not a
you
long term
if you win a
strategy.
lot overnight, like gambling. I mean, and the only way you can get it back is by gambling. There's a really good chance you're going to end up losing it all again
That's
too.
right.
So anyway, but I appreciate you sharing that. So, when did things start to click for you? Start to go in the right direction?
Yeah, so like I fell into like a deep dark depression, really, to be honest, suicidal moment in my life, and I've been more open about this as I had a couple friends take their life this over the past year or two post pandemic, and there's a lot of mental issues out there going on, and I just know that I was at that point, and that for me to be here, I know that it's not a long term issue; it's a short term incorrect thinking process that we feel helpless and hopeless that the days in our future are going to be worse than the days we've already had in our past, and it wasn't that didn't want to live. I just didn't know how to live the right way. And I didn't see any hope going forward. And I battled this for a long time. And what happened to me was, for one, I found my faith again. I had lost my faith for a long time. I started praying again. That was the first step. Second step was I fell heavily into personal education and self development. These two things kind of happened simultaneously. And I remember going on the internet one night and I stumbled across Napoleon Hill. He's the individual that wrote Think and Grow Rich. He had his black and white recordings of his 17 principles of success. And I remember stumbling onto those on the internet and watching one. And for some reason, it just resonated with me because I just like, this guy's in black and white recordings. He's not trying to sell me a home study course. He's not trying to trick me at a big events, take 30 grand from me. He's telling me genuinely what, he believes are the principles of success. And I started watching those. It led me down just this psychotic, addictive path to self-development. And I read, a ton of books. I started following, Jim Rohn, Bob Proctor, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, John Maxwell, Earl Nightingale. And I went down that path and I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that
Mhm.
book inspired me to go into real estate and on a higher level. At the time, I was still doing insurance. I was dabbling in real estate. I was trying to find my way. And this is when I was like, I'm going into real estate because I want to build residual income. This is when I really started understanding the concept of equity models and cash flow models as compared to active income or time traded income models. And it did not go well. I kept getting farther into debt. And I actually had to get a job working for minimum wage because I had a choice to either file bankruptcy, throw in the towel, quit, and carry that over my shoulders, or pick up a broom and sweep floors for minimum wage while I fought this. And I chose to go up against darkness, actually. And I did pick up the broom and I'd work 12, 16-hour days teaching myself how to build WordPress websites. So this was kind of the breakthrough moment for me. I was watching YouTube videos, teaching myself how to optimize and build WordPress websites. And I started YouTube channels, linking private YouTube channels to my websites. And at the time, nobody was doing this. And it drove the algorithm up. And my websites went from page 8 to 7 to 6, all the way up to top of page 1 for a lot of the biggest keywords in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, for like We Buy Houses Dallas, Sell My House Fast Plano. And I started generating a lot of leads on the internet inbound organically. So I started out wholesaling a bunch of properties. So I went from, working for $10 an hour living at home to some weeks closing almost $100,000 in wholesale deals, and got myself
Dude,
out
that's
of the hole.
incredible.
Started to build up a little bit of working capital, and now I could get into what's called hard money loans, and bring in the backside of the financing from behind private money lenders. And I started flipping houses like you guys see on HGTV. I started flipping a bunch of properties. Then I was buying properties from homeowners on owner financing to build my rental portfolio before I was financeable. And then I got back financeable and I started, trying to get more loans and things like that. And then I kind of moved into more creative financing because rentals are cash flow, not as much passive as I wanted. And I started selling my properties on owner financing. I started creating notes, selling notes. And then I went into land, mobile homes, in parks and outside of parks and all that. And then I started my Investor Army channel during all this process, which became one of the larger educational YouTube channels in North America for residential real estate investing. And then that's kind of when everybody started bombarding me with EXP type of stuff. But so I was a full-time investor before I got licensed for a long time, actually.
That's incredible, brother. I love the wolf logo that you got behind you too, representing your current brand. But here's what I love about your story, man, is there's a lot of humble moments to it, but at no point in time, even when you were feeling depressed, I mean, you were building your think. You were reading Think and Grow Rich, checking out Jim Rohn. I mean, putting all this great stuff. And even when things weren't going well, you knew it wasn't that they were all wrong. You were trying to figure out your way, and then you had to survive for a moment. Live with your parents, have a 9 to 5, whatever you said, 12-hour days. Well, you never stopped. And then the second that you were able to see something working again, you went all in. And I keep thinking that you put all your chips in the middle of the table again, but in a good way. Like, so you figured out how to build websites, and you figured out how to get on the first page of Google, right? We all know the joke about where do you bury a dead body, on the second page of Google, right? So, so you knew like you were doing well there, and now you're making $100,000 in a week when you were, weren't going to make that in a year at your W-2 doing what you were doing. So, this is why I wanted you on the show. I didn't even know half of what you just said before talking to you today. And I'm so happy that you've been on the show, because even if it was just the stuff I knew about, it's an incredible story. Now you factor in that you're at this level. And we got a lot of early stage entrepreneurs that tune into the show, and people who have been on that roller coaster in life. And I've been on it too. And I've been at the lowest of the lows, like yourself. I had to move in with family when things blew up in my face. My first time being an entrepreneur as well. Super humbling. And I have a daughter, so it's like trying to take care of her and like, be, there's this, sorry to rant real quick. I'm going to share this, but there's a, insurance ad. I think it was MetLife, and it always gets me super emotional. Do you ever see the MetLife commercial? It's older now, where there's a dad and he's wearing like a blazer and he's running around town with his daughter, and he's like dropping her off at school and picking her up, and he's being a great dad. But what she doesn't see is that he got like let go from his job. He's literally like doesn't have any money. Right. He might have like $12. He buys her an ice cream and puts it back in his pocket. Like, I've felt some of that in my life. It gets me super emotional. But then at the end, she writes him a letter. Like, she knew the whole time, but she loved him no matter what. And it's super powerful. But I just want to say I commend you for being able to navigate through the turmoil. It's literally like a tornado going on in your life, and you're like, I'm just going to keep going. I know where I can go. You've seen the guys at the table, those dudes that you were playing poker with that were losing 20 grand and laughing about it. You knew like, okay, I'm going to be sitting at the table with these guys at some point, and if I lose 20 grand, we'll be giggling about it. So we're going to take a quick 2-minute timeout. I just wanted to tell you, brother, how much I appreciate you being here and how incredible your story is. And we're going to get a little bit more business insights from you right after this 2-minute break. Podcasting is a great way to engage with your audience and stay consistently relevant. The only problem is you don't have the time or desire to produce your own show. You simply want it done for you, and that's where Social Chameleon comes in. All you need to do is press record and upload the files. We'll handle the rest. From planning, production, post-production, distribution, and digital marketing, we have you covered. We realize that times are tough and funds are tight, and Social Chameleon believes in building supportive business relationships. By clicking on the link in this promo, we'll provide you 7 free podcasting tips to get started, as well as a free 30-minute online consultation. This is the perfect opportunity for entrepreneurs, keynote speakers, industry experts, influencers, and anybody who has a personal brand. With Social Chameleon, we help you build a brand that is out of this world. We're ready and waiting, so what are you waiting for? Click on the link to get started today. Hey guys, it's Mike. I'd like to give a proper shout out to Navigator Bookkeeping. Look, for a long time, I ran my business without really understanding the full financial picture. I used my gut and my bank account balance to make decisions, which led to some poor choices and constant stress over my business's finances. I knew something needed to change. At the beginning of 2021, I made a decision that helped pave a more clear path for my business. I started working with Navigator Bookkeeping. Since then, my bookkeeping has been handled for me. I now understand the full financial story of my business, making important financial decisions much easier now, and it helps me plan for where my business is going. I highly recommend giving Navigator Bookkeeping an opportunity to help your business. Check them out at navigatingyourbooks.com. Again, that's navigatingyourbooks.com. It's time to know the full financial story of your business. All right, we're back in action with Connor Steinbrook. And remember, you can connect with him on social media. His website's in there as well and clickable. So we're going to jump right back in. We got him for a couple more minutes here. So let's talk to our aspiring entrepreneurs for a moment. They're just starting out in their ventures. They're a little bit unclear on what they're going to do. They feel like you and I did in the beginning, uncertain, and but they have it in their heart that they're not going to give up and they're going to do it no matter what. What advice would you give that person listening right now?
I was thinking about this a second ago. Like, what really did it for me was I met a lot of successful people. I saw, I met them at the poker tables. I met them in life, friends, family, friends, and things like this. And I came to the conclusion that they're just like me. They're born in this world. They have a heart, blood pumping through them, a mind, and they all have goals and dreams. And they didn't seem much more special. They just seemed like they had a great life and a great career. And so I said, if all these people that are just like me figured it out, I don't think I'm that big of an idiot. I could probably figure it out too. So what do I have to do? Well, I need to figure it out. So if I'm going to educate myself and also work on my business, those two things hand in hand plus time is going to result in the goals that you want being hit. So literally, this is all you need to do. Decide what you want to do, put the foot on the pedal, wake up every single day. Don't worry about when it happens. Just know that you're working for the activity of showing up every day. And at some point, your future day will show up at the day you're successful. And so it doesn't really matter, like the problem is people start and stop. They get in their own mind. They think the price is too high to pay. They start putting time, money, and risk into something, and then they feel it not working. They don't know what's going to happen in the future. They just expect it could maybe not work, and then they think if I keep on pursuing this and then it doesn't work, the farther they go down this road, then if it doesn't work, look how much more I lost. Look how much time I lost. Look how much effort I lost. So they like the honeymoon phase. So they want to go. They go this way for 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, and then they stop and they change directions. They go into a different industry. Then they change this, they go in the next one. And they like that honeymoon phase of it's exciting that I'm changing my life. But then the adversity phase kicks in. They say, I don't like that. And they don't push through it. And they go to the next honeymoon phase and they start quitting things right before they quit the next thing that they're about to quit. And they never push through. So there's a lot of great vehicles, guys. Insurance, real estate, all these different business models. You need to find one that has a high upside that other people before you've came and accomplished. Then you need to just start and put your foot on the pedal and never let off. If you just show up every single day and work towards your goals every single day, at some point your brain will figure out the answers. You'll come across the right information. The world will put the right people in your path, and don't worry about it. Just worry about showing up every day. That's the only thing you need to worry about, because if you do that, the world will get out of your way. It's when you start and stop and put 2 weeks in and take a week off, put 3 days in and take 4 days off. You're not showing the world, the partners, people around you that you're convicted enough and the belief is high enough of what you're doing. Nobody's ever going to follow you. But when you show the world that I'm moving this direction, I'm never stop moving this direction, I have a conviction to show up in the future at this direction I'm going, that's when the world parts and comes behind you and follows you into whatever direction you're going, as people follow conviction and belief. And if you can do that strongly in your marketplace with whatever business you're doing, it will take some time. There's an echo effect in life. Think like a slingshot or a boomerang. The efforts you put in today don't show up until tomorrow. So don't look at short-term results. Stay focused on the long-term goal and the long-term results, and just show up with the energy and the belief that you can get there every day. And at some point you will. But that's really the secret to success right there.
I agree, brother. It's that's really good. It's watering the garden, and the fruit and the vegetables that grow in this garden don't take 2 weeks. They take years sometimes. Some of them will pop up in 6 months. You mentioned to me off camera that one of your business partners happened to be someone that was, did you say connected with him on a podcast or one of your YouTube videos?
Just like this.
It's become, just like this, connecting one-on-one. And it became a huge part of your business success and your partnership now. So you don't know who that one person's going to be. It could be one client, could be just one viewer of your content or a podcast listener right now. But the consistencies would allow you to get in front of that person.
That's right.
Really good, man. Is there anything we didn't talk about today that you really want to get out there? It could be any topic: real estate, insurance, business, poker.
Yeah, I mean, so like the Wolfpack and with the EXP and everything. So like what happened was I built the Investor Army YouTube channel, and a lot of people started reaching out to me and about EXP, which is a new cloud-based brokerage that was growing globally. And because I built that social media influence and started growing it, I decided to join the company. And that's when, like, my first year, I recruited, 40 or so people. Our organization totally combined grew to over 150. Second year, we grew to 300. Third year, 600. Fourth year, we added 1,000 agents, went to 1,600. And now we're closing in on 2,800 agents. And so the reason why I'm saying this is because when I started out my career and started out my path, look at where it started. It started out in poker, and then it led to insurance, and then it led to real estate and YouTube, and then it led to real estate investing in YouTube, and then it led into the real estate agent side of the business in a global real estate team. And what that means is what I said, just put the foot down, show up every day. The doors will open along the way. You say, I'm looking in this door. Maybe it looks like I want to go in, maybe not. You're going to have all these doors open and come into your life. And as long as you keep going forward with the mission in hand, the doors will open along the way that you need to. And you've heard, I guess, Steve Jobs say this in a different way. You can only see the dots connecting when you look backwards. And so don't worry about it. You can't see what your future is going to have, but you can only dream it. But you have to visualize it and make it real. And you have to put the energy into it. But along the way, if you stay in the game, you will have people pop up out of nowhere. You will have opportunities pop up out of nowhere. And what happens is you're going to fail a lot in the beginning, but those failures let you realize why you failed. And it lets you realize you've been missing opportunities around you your whole life that you didn't see, but now you can identify an opportunity. And so now when you finally know why all the things you've done wrong, messed up, and failed in every way, when you see the opportunity, you see it this time when it feels like nobody else can see it, and you seize the moment and you put the foot down, you go full steam at it. And that's why you can separate the pack and separate to the top of the industry, because people are still lost in their failure mode where they're scared to take a risk and really commit to something. But you need to get out there and fail aggressively. That's where you're going to learn what it's going to take to actually win. So everybody's going to have adversities. Everybody's going to fail. You guys have to do this. You're never going to become a UFC fighter and get to a championship without getting punched in the face or breaking your hand on someone's face. Right? You have to go through the adversity, and it's a rite of passage. Just do it, enjoy it, be grateful that you push through it, because you'll be stronger for it.
Yeah, dude, really good. Mic drop moment right there, Connor. I love it. I think, too, and add in there, like to find something that you're going to be passionate about. So when you get punched in the face, if you really enjoy UFC fighting, you're going to come back again and say, like, I'm ready for the next match. So find stuff that you're really interested in. And, for me, I'm just talking to the audience here, kind of spitballing off of what you said, is you don't really know what you're going to fall in love with unless you go out there into the world. Like for me, I was in insurance for a while. I did that, knocking on doors, kitchen tables, calling people on the phone in the office. And I just loved helping people out. I didn't care so much about the insurance policy language, but I cared about the guy and gal and family and their daughter and everybody that's, I'm helping out and protecting them. Right. And I think about it that way. It's like, wow, what I offer them is of high value. And so I'm doing this with a lot of energy. I sold mattresses at Sleep Number, great company, great product. I did it so well because I actually believed in it. So just to add to that, like when you believe in something, you'll go through those tornadoes and want to keep coming out on the other side. Now podcasting is the thing I fell in love with over the last handful of years. And look, I mean, I've made so many amazing connections, including yourself today, through this thing. And all of my clients have come through podcasting. Like, before, and then eventually I just turned the company into a podcast agency. It's like, this makes so much sense. This is where the gold's coming from. And then, like you said, man, it's like, you don't know like what door is going to open until you like walk into the house and all these other doors start opening that you didn't even know existed. There's like, man, the backyard's beautiful. I didn't even know it was there. I had to go through the house and walk through that back door and check this out. There's this beautiful mountainous view. Nobody told me about. Like you're not going to get there if you're just stuck in this one zone. Go and explore. That's really, really strong advice. And you can see it in your story. It's always more powerful when somebody tells something like that and they're like, look, I actually did it. I'm not just writing a book about it and trying to sell a $20 book. Like I actually did this shit,
Right.
One last thing, I know we both have to go. And I just want to have you kind of summarize, if you put kind of an exclamation point on the conversation, you're the author and protagonist in your own life story, like we were just talking about, and you get to write that ending. And God willing, you continue to live a long, prosperous life. You're looking back, you're reflecting on it, and you get to define your legacy. What would that be?
Yeah, I mean, my goal is to push our Wolfpack organization over 10,000 agents globally. So we're getting ready to close in on 3,000. And then I try to tell people, like, the first half of your life, fight for your financial freedom, build that. Second half of your life, protect your future and your real freedom, meaning fight for yourself, your family, your community, do what you can. And so it's our job as entrepreneurs to protect the future of our country and the world, really, when I think about it. And if it wasn't for individuals like ourselves that go out there and create a surplus and create a large net worth, if we don't do good with that money, we don't do good within our communities and inspire others to do, then we're going to erode away our values, our morals, our principles. So it's the independent wealth creators of the world, really, that control the future. And if we don't do the right thing and build the right businesses and then do the right thing after it, then is it a future we really want to move into? So I'm going to continue on building my businesses for years, and then I'm going to start some nonprofits. My dad ran a nonprofit for like 35 years, and then just do probably a bunch of content and stuff like this, trying to kind of pay it forward and give back, because I had a lot of inspiration from like I got my education from YouTube, by the way, guys. Like,
yeah.
I paid all that money to go through all these ripoff gurus. They scammed me. They cheated me. I paid for all these courses and training systems. And what I realized was they're all fakes, and they're not all of them. I mean, there's some good people out there, but just vet the company is all I'm saying. Because if I'd vetted some, probably wouldn't write the check. Is when I got on YouTube, where it was people like me and like what we're doing right now on this podcast, like just sharing normal information, normal people. And it wasn't like some shiny suit on a stage with a big camera cruising around like this production. It was just like, hey, I see myself in this person more. And I started aggressively educating myself from people in my industry, competitors actually, that were different markets and things like that. And so I'm gonna continue putting information on the internet and helping out that way. But I just encourage you guys to stay in the right mindset. You hear a lot of these success stories, like it's told real quick in 30 minutes, but along the way, there was a lot of adversity. Like I worked over 3 years without a day off. I didn't take a single day off to break even. Think about what I just said there. Most people, if they start a business and they're not rich within 3 months, this doesn't work. So you hear the story, I think it's like Andy Frisella's story. He worked like 11 years.
Yeah.
Don't quote me, guys. Something like that, and didn't even make a profit.
He never took a Saturday off. I know Gary Vee said he always worked at his parents' wine store. He worked Saturdays. He didn't really have many friends through his best years, his teens and his 20s and stuff. But now he's taken, and Andy's taken all of those amazing business lessons, and they're willing to work hard because it's just in their blood now.
Yeah, and that's when you feel the most alive. Like I think people get depressed when they don't work hard. And I realized this as I've been very lazy at certain parts of my life and extremely over-aggressive on my work ethic, probably, where people say it's too much. And I think we're built to work hard, and the harder you work and the more you're pursuing something noble, and that the more you fight the demons every single day, meaning, it's going to be hard to get up and go to the gym. It's going to be hard to get up and face the problems in your business. But the more you do this, the more fulfilled you're going to be, and the more you respect yourself going forward. Because what happens is when you push through adversities, you build self-respect and self-esteem. And then it's something you can't buy this. You can win $1 million and have $1 million in your bank account. But if you fail in business like I did to get to your first million, and you have that same million, it's $1 million versus $1 million. This one was fought through adversity, suffering, pain, and sacrifice. Those two people do not look in the mirror at the same person. This person got lucky and did not earn it. This person earned it, and this person has a massive respect for themselves inside. And that's really what makes you feel good inside, and also know that you can take on anything that comes in the future. So you have to kind of go through these adversities and struggles, guys. They're not problems. They're not curses. They're gifts and blessings. And I didn't realize that at the time. So until you push through those adversities, you're not going to get to the next level of the video game, which is where there's going to be bigger problems and going forward. So you need to find the adversity. I tell people, you don't go to the gym to run from the weight bench. You go there to find it. So do that in your business. Go find the adversities in your business and push through them and build strength and find the next adversity. And then to do that long enough, you're going to show up with the bank account, the lifestyle, the house, the car, the family, and everything that you want.
Connor, that's one of my favorite things that I've ever had on the show, like over 190 episodes now, because I could feel that when you're looking in the mirror and, if you're handed something, if your parents buy you the car versus you working 3 summers during your high school years to buy your first car, you drive that thing differently. You appreciate it differently. You love it differently, and it's certainly true. You see a lot of people gain and lose things quick, but they typically, and sometimes it happens if you work hard for it too, you can lose it, but you just have a totally different confidence. And confidence is something that is built by you telling yourself, I'm going to get up, go to the gym. Then you do it. Then you do it again on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. By Saturday, you feel like $1 million because you told yourself you're going to do stuff and you did it. And it could be something as easy as I'm going to, be ready for my first call at X time, and you just continue to do it. And it's something I know I I experienced this in my own life. It could be really small, minute tasks, but when you do them and you promise yourself you're going to do them, if it's make 10 calls today and you do it, or send 30 emails or whatever your goal is and you do it, it just tells yourself that you're capable. And then when you earn it, you just
Sure.
it's a different feeling, brother. And that is really, really well said. Have you ever considered doing like online courses or stuff to teach people the game of poker at all? Like, is that still part of your passion, or you kind of like feel like you graduated out of the poker space?
Yeah, I'll touch on that. And just one last thing on like what we were talking about before, like you see that with like wealthy families. My dad ran a nonprofit and was around a lot of wealthy families and their children that were given everything. They struggle big time, mental issues, suicides, and all sorts of stuff because it was given to them. So if your parents make your kids suffer a little bit, don't give them everything, make them tough. But anyways, to go to like the poker stuff, not really, man. Like I'll still go play every now and then for fun. Like when we do like events in Vegas and I gotta go do speaking things, I'll play here and there. But I played so much for so long. Like, I mean, you gotta understand, like it was a lot of poker over 8 years. Like I played
Yeah.
more than I ever need. And it's not like I'll go play for fun, but never like am I trying to make money. You can make way more money in
Sure.
business and there's not the up and down swings.
I would associate it to me playing the drums. Like, I just love doing it. It's something I'm passionate about. I'm talented at it. And like, if I'm ever around a bunch of friends and there's a drum set there and we're just, they got their guitars, like, yeah, let's just play a couple tunes. We're here, we're in the environment. Or I've been to just hanging out with my friends at a open mic night and they say, come up for a couple songs. It's kind of the same thing. If you're at a casino and Connor's there, like, hey, like sit in on a couple hands, you know?
Yeah.
As long as you have the discipline to not end up there for 4 days straight in the same t-shirt.
Or move to that happens all the time, or see the sun come up, or move over to like, the problem is like when you gamble or you play poker, because poker's still gambling in a way, it's gambling with a skill, like an element of an edge. But like,
True.
I'd have to play like with huge amounts of money now to get myself to have that excitement rush, and to play at the levels I'd have to play, even though I have the money, I'm probably gonna get my face crushed in because they've been playing for so long. I couldn't compete. I don't think. I mean, I could probably get back up to that level, but right now, it's like if you like you're playing professional golf or something for 8 years straight, and then you left for 10 years. Like you could probably get back in, but you're not going to come back.
You're not going to be. Yeah,
sure.
you're not going to be. Yeah, where you need to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my face and my ego. My ego hurt.
Yeah,
and make it.
I was just curious. I knew it was something you really loved doing, so I was wondering if you still did it, just for giggles here and there. But that's
Well,
cool.
I'll leave this last little thing because
Yeah.
my new hobby, it's been a lifelong hobby. The thing I used to do a lot was fish when I was little, bass fishing. And that's where I built a relationship with my father. And when I was little, everybody wanted to, like when you get those questionnaires from school, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like astronauts, scientist, attorney, or whatever. I said, I want to be a professional bass master angler. And because of sacrificing and going through all this and building my financial freedom, I just ordered my dream boat. I just got a 2024 Camus CX21 Pro. If you guys know what that is, it's freaking a badass boat. And the reason why I got it is because I'm going to be fishing in the Bassmaster Opens because one of my big hobbies is I fish all the time.
Yeah.
People know me know this. And so now because of business and because of doing this, 30 years later, I can go back and chase my childhood dream. And I want you guys to go back and think about what you wanted when you were little and what you wanted to become and who you want to become. And think about why you gave up on that. And then think about how to bring that back into your life. And for me, this is kind of a reward. So instead of like going back in the poker world, I'm really going after a different type of industry, which is the fishing industry. But business has given me the freedom to do that. And so if you guys suffer for long enough, eventually you get through the storm and then there's nothing but sunshine as rainbow after that. And you have the life you want and you can chase the dreams and goals that you want because you now have time and money freedom.
My one of my business mentors, I caught up with him yesterday after a couple of weeks, and he was in Cali for a vacation, Northern Cali, and there was a bass fishing tournament. He said it was the craziest thing he's ever seen, how intense it was, and how the tournaments were like no joke, and people were really taking it seriously. And then he said the boat. I don't know if he got a chance to be on one of the boats or if he just saw them. He said they're like a piece of art, like just to see how crazy these boats are, and a couple $100,000, I think. Right? I mean, you know the value of them, and they have basically like a pro bass shop on each one, right?
Oh, for sure. So imagine having like 60 boats. Yeah, so they get like 60 So the big tournaments are more regulated. The local tournaments I fish up here, you'll have like 60 boats all sitting there, and it'll be like 5:59 a.m. and they'll say at 6 you can go. Well, when it hits 6, imagine 60 boats flooring it, crisscrossing over each other, and it's sketch as hell, but it's fun as fun as hell too. But it's scary.
Yeah, I'd like
Someone's
to see
gonna
that.
get oh, dude, it's nuts. Like
I would think that would
it's wild,
scare the
wild
fish
west.
away. Like I would think that you would, they're obviously sensitive
Shooting
to.
across the lake, so everybody's racing to get to their spot. So they give you like a couple days ahead of time to fish the lake to kind of figure out the patterns. But then, like on game day, basically day one of the tournament, there's a starting time, and usually depending on the tournament and what tournament trail you're on, but the one I'm doing here, they just let everybody go at the same time. So it's a race to the best spots. And so you have 60 boats, maybe 5 people are going to your spot. And so now it's a race.
Yeah.
It is literally a
I
race,
gotcha.
and everybody's taking
So
off.
once you
and
get to a
it's,
spot, you kind of nobody can steal your spot. Like the first come first serve. They got to find a different spot.
Nobody owns the lake, but there should
Yeah.
be there. Most people have a level of respect for others. Now there are some that don't, and they'll get right up on you. But technically, if you get there first, it's kind of like back off, and then if you fish that area, then people can come behind you. But there's definitely been some punches thrown on the fishing field, I guess you could say, because they play for a lot of money. So I'm going to be doing this for fun. Like now I'm when you look at poker world, I'm the business owner fishing the poker tournaments that was laughing when I lost the tournament. Instead, how I was watching those wealthy people. Yeah. Whereas these guys are fishing for a living like I used to, where it was life or death. Like they have to win because they have to pay their bills. They have to pay, write the checks. So it's a real deal. Their family's on the line. So it gets pretty intense for some of them. For me, it's just a hobby to see what I can do and test my ability against the best in the world.
That's what I was telling my buddy. I was like, if I want to go fishing, I just want to sit and it's the conversation. It's if we catch something, it's a bonus, It's just hanging out on the lake and having a good time talking with our friends, and that's the kind of thing I enjoy. Do you have kids?
Almost 3,000 of them. I'm just kidding. But so I said about my agents. No, I
so
want
you got
to.
Your agents, but I was going to say if you had, I didn't know if you got to bring your kids on a boat and kind of pass the torch down that your dad passed to you.
That's the plan. I got nieces and nephews, and I'm going to do a lot. Like one of the most fulfilling things is like I think I do with when you guys have money is share it with others and give them experiences that they couldn't. A lot of my great experiences when I was coming up, when I was a child, my dad didn't necessarily have the amount of money to do these types of things, but he knew wealthy people that had ranches and experiences where I could go ride dirt bikes and ride horses and go hunting and fishing and stuff like that. So if you do get into a financial situation that's prominent and positive, help as many people and give those experiences because you can inspire those children. So think about Rich Dad Poor Dad. That was really what that was about. He saw his rich dad teach him all the life experiences that he didn't have. And then now look what decades later it turned into. But so if you guys are in Dallas or you're a real estate agent and you come through Dallas and you want to join EXP, just hit me up. And even Mike, you want to come down here and go fish? You're in Dallas, hit me up. We'll take the boat out. We'll go get some big ones.
I would love to do that. Yeah. I'm planning on doing like a California tour, but I know there's a lot of stuff going on in Cali right now. It's not, I mean, my cousins lived in San Fran. It was this beautiful area. And now I know they said there's just a ton of homeless people and there's car break-ins. Like every hour, a parking lot of 100 cars is going to have 90 of them broken through. It's like another friend was staying up in Northern Cali and said they were in Sacramento, which I have an aunt and uncle that live there. Beautiful neighborhood. But he said even like the nicer neighborhoods have people just all over the place. Just like really, you wouldn't want to go outside and just meet someone at the wrong time because they're going crazy right now. So it's kind of, I'm thinking maybe I'll do Texas sounds good, or even Florida's got some stuff going on. It's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, sure.
It's crazy like what's going on as far as beautiful areas in our country that are just not great destinations for vacation anymore.
I hear you. Dude, I actually saw that with my own eyes. I've been at San Diego and I went to a few other places. I was driving through Oakland, and I mean, when we went, I don't think Oakland's like one of the nicer areas, but like we were in some nicer areas, like you're seeing like grass on the side of the sidewalks in the city that like chest high, like they're not taking care of these streets and things like that. Like, and you think with the amount of tax money they take from, the California residents, it's like, how can you not afford to mow the street, like mow the grass, and y'all take more money from your people than any other state, it sounds like, and you still can't mow the yard.
There's a lot of
it's
stuff
just crazy. Where's it going?
Corrupt. Yeah. Anyway, I
another
didn't mean
podcast.
to leave on a negative thing, but your story is awesome. This was so much fun. I'm glad to have you in my, my sphere now. I'll continue to check your story out, and I will tell you this. I don't know if I've even mentioned this on the show before, but I love real estate, and I see myself getting into it at some point in time. And you're absolutely right about multiple streams of income. All of the people you mentioned, those beautiful books, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then also Think and Grow Rich. I've read both of those,
Great
and
books.
yeah, it's about getting in the right quadrant, as Robert talks about. And so real estate's something I know I'm going to get into at some point. So I'll definitely reach
Your
out to you for
license.
some.
Come work with me, bro. Well, yeah, if you get your license, you can partner with me anywhere in North America in 20 different countries. So yeah, come join the Wolfpack, Mike. We'll do
Join
it.
the Wolfpack Organization through EXP Realty, and the fastest growing real estate brokerage in North American history. Connor,
Yep.
thank you so much for your time today. I always end every episode with two things: be great and be grateful. I'm grateful for you, Connor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for hanging with us all the way until the end. If you haven't done it already, you can click right over here to subscribe to my channel. Make sure you turn on your notifications so you're notified of all of the updates. If you guys like shorter clips, I have mic drop moments right here. That's when my guest gives an amazing insight, and we capture that right here. Mic drop moments, and down here are the full-length episodes. All my previous episodes are right there.